Oh my gosh, this knife is so excellent. I'm very excited about it. You've never seen it before on tabletop, not never. It is an OTF knife. Any guesses? It's a Microtech, nothing fancy. Man, you're good. You're right, it is a Microtech. And they are pretty much sold out at Blade HQ with most variations, especially this one. Here it comes, y'all. Get ready to lust for the $500. That's right, I did not exaggerate. $500 Microtech Cypher. This is Katana OD Green and Bronze variation. Highly collectible. Super excellent. Hey, nothing fancy. Is that worth $500? Well, two answers to that. First answer is no. I mean, because $500 can buy a lot of gear that you need a lot more than an OTF knife, especially for your BOKs. That's the real answer. The second answer is kind of, because you can spend the money on this, and if you keep it in box and don't use it, it's going to go up in value, y'all. You could turn around in like 10 years and sell this for $650. That's what's happened to all the Microtechs. So to answer to that, I mean, I wouldn't like buy it as an investment. There's other things you should do as an investment, but I'm just saying they keep their value. Here's the information on this, by the way, this watch review. Hey, nothing fancy, review that. Well, I did kind of. I just said it's awesome. It's good enough. I'll cover the details perhaps later in a knife review, KRV, but look at that. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. They have Chinese knockoffs of these, but they do not approach the coolness of this one. Oh my gosh, that's such a sick OTF. Oh my goodness, getting excited. All right, so let's put that there. I'm gonna put a Glock 19 on the table for a watch review. Let's get grounded. Let's get to the subject, nothing fancy. Okay, I was gonna do two watch reviews for these two Momentum models. Again, the Pathfinder 3 and the Voretech GMT. I decided just to do a 2-for-1. I think that's the best thing. I do still amazingly catch heat from the main channel. Not Patreon guys. Patreon guys are super supportive, but main channel guys, they're like, oh, enough watch reviews. Oh my goodness. So you don't have to watch them, pun intended. You should, but you don't have to. I like them and I keep posting. I don't care if guys criticize it or not. I don't care. So enjoy it while they last. Enjoy them while they last, the WRVs. Here we go. I've reviewed two models, the Atlas 38, the Flatline 42, which is right here. And now I have two more Momentum models to show y'all. And one I'm super stoked on, and the other one, I shouldn't say super stoked, but I am stoked. The other one, not so much. Can you figure out which one I like best? Right there on the table, just looking at them. You like the bigger one, nothing fancy? I can't pull anything over on you guys. You're right. I like this one better, the Momentum Voretech GMT. But let me say this. I actually did not buy this one new. I bought it used. So I went to the used market and I got the Pathfinder 3 for tabletop review. I've worn it. It came used. And I got to tell you, I really don't mind buying used watches. I don't mind if the leather strap's a little bit beat up. I don't mind if there's nicks on the cases. I'm a little bit more picky about the crystal if it's been scratched or something, but I don't mind it. I was like, okay, cool. I still paid a fair amount for it. I paid $200 for it on the used market, which is probably too much, but I wanted the watch. I wanted to review it and bring it to y'all for your consideration. Okay. Bigger watch for sure. I'm going to give you the sizing on the Momentum Voretech GMT, this one. And this is a more expensive watch. It's like $300, this one, with a sapphire crystal. It's expensive. It has alarm function in it, has a GMT function in it. And the sizing on this is 44 millimeters across, 12 millimeters in thickness, 53 millimeter lug to lug. And I think both of them are wearing 22 millimeter lug spacing so you can swap out straps. I have the crown pulled out for a reason. And the Pathfinder 3, again around $200. This one I think also has a sapphire crystal on it. I can't remember if the dude put one on. Honestly, I don't know. But you can get it. It's going to add about 40 to 50 bucks to it if you get it. I recommend you don't get sapphire crystals. if you have a choice, and just put my crystal protector on it. I've said that a lot, but this one's smaller. It's 40 millimeters across, 11 millimeters in thickness, 48 millimeter lug to lug, still wearing 22 millimeter spacing. These are the original straps. I believe I've never replaced them. My point though in sizing, that's where I'll start, is guys who have a smaller wrist, 6.5-inch wrist, I think you'll love that one. I think you'll love it. I met this dude the other day, and I hope I can find the photograph. Oh my gosh, great guy. And he's wearing this Divas. It's a really cool watch. They're like $1,000, and I'm a watch guy at this point, watch enthusiast. And I said, that's a cool watch. But man, that thing was hanging off the dude's wrist. It was way too big for his skinny little wrist, and it looked wrong. I didn't say anything, but I looked at the photo, and I asked him, I said, hey, can I take a picture of this? He's like, yeah, go ahead. So we talked watches. We had a great time. I mean, and then when I came back and looked at the photo from my iPhone, I was like, oh my gosh, that does not fit him. He probably has 6-inch wrists from the looks of it, and he's wearing this huge, it's kind of a Flieger, modern Flieger with a turnable bezel. The Divas is cool, but they're too expensive for me. They're like $1,000. I would love to have that watch, but he needs something like this, a Pathfinder at 40 millimeters, and we'll start off with this one. Now, in the Flatline 42 video, I talked about the sizing, how this lays flat, has kind of a thicker bezel. On this one, we have a thinner bezel. On the Voretech GMT, still can't speak, GMT, a little bit thicker bezel. We'll look at that in detail here in a second. But notice it has the same type of face, and that is an illuminated face with pitch black hands, at least for the Pathfinder 3 on the Momentum. Now, granted, this is more, I don't know if the camera is really capturing it. It's kind of a lume color, kind of a greenish color. In the camera, I'm looking in the viewfinder right now. It looks more whitish. It's not. It's kind of a lume green, really, on the Pathfinder, which I don't mind. I think it's cool looking. And you'll really like the lume, just like I did on the Flatline 42 with this. It's ultra, ultra cool. We'll look at the hands here in a second. And on this one, same thing. So we have illuminated face on that, if I'm not mistaken. So many watches, so many watches. I'm going to tell you about the hands and all that stuff, I guess right now. Let's start with this Pathfinder 3. There are some things to me, as a watch enthusiast, not really a reviewer, but kind of, that are kind of make or break deals for me these days. And I told you this in the Flatline 42 video. Make or break are the hands. Okay, for me, I like basic hands. Sword hands are my favorite, which the Voretech GMT is featuring. These are syringe hands. I've learned I don't dig them as much. I know, that's just my preference. Maybe you love them. I don't like cathedral hands. I don't like shiny hands. What do you like, nothing fancy? Well, funny you should ask. And my favorite hands are Flieger hands. And it's still here on the table. These kind of IWC big pilot type hands. This is an AV8 Hawker Harrier 2 4052 4031. Sorry, 4031 coming up for review. Those hands, those are perfect. If you ask, there's your answer. They're perfect. Yeah, they're Flieger style, kind of mimicking altimeters and pilot gauges. No, it's not because I'm a pilot. No, that's not why. I just like the legibility. They're cool. I don't mind varying it sometimes. So here's a Wegener Attitude. I've reviewed this watch already in a combo review, so it's like 5 watches in one. I like these hands, but they're not Flieger. So getting back to the Pathfinder 3, the syringe hands, maybe you love it. Say in comment if you love syringe hands, and they're on many upscale watches for sure. For sure. So let's look at the graduations here. Here, unlike the Flatline 42, this watch right here, previously reviewed, we have very precise markings. We have full Arabic numeral set. And one thing I forgot to say in the Flatlines, we do have a Flieger triangle at the top right here. So this is actually kind of a field Flieger watch. I forgot to say that, but it is kind of, sort of, a modern interpretation. Really nice graduations, perfect numeral set. They are somewhat applied. I'm looking out of the viewfinder right now to make sure I'm telling you right. So unlike the Flatline, these actually have a 3-dimensional effect to them, which is cool. I prefer it. We have a second subdial here, which I generally don't prefer these days. I don't. Just telling you. We have a date window in the Pathfinder 3, which is positive display and somewhat readable. somewhat. That's pretty much across the board. Unreadable date windows. More and more I see that. Military time on the inner dial here. Nice markings. The water resistance on both of these, even though they have some pushers on them, is 100 meters. I don't know if I'd go diving to 300 feet in either of these. Definitely not with leather strats, but if I put on a NATO, I'd take it down to 25 feet. Both of these watches, I wouldn't have any problem doing it. And no, I didn't do that, in case you're wondering. Really nice detail, though, on the seconds subdial, if that's what you like. Every time I see a GMT, well, this is not a GMT hand. That's a watch alarm indicator right here. It always psychs me out, and I think the second hand has died. Doesn't it look that way? You're like, oh, my second hand stopped. No, that's your way to set your alarm, which I guess I'll do right here. And we have a 9 o'clock screw-in crown on the Pathfinder 3. They're both screw-in crowns. Voretech GMT is the same way. So I think I have this set up right now. I do. So it's a little bit tricky to set your alarm, and all you're going to do is just rotate that alarm hand around to whatever you want. So it's a 24-hour scale. You use your inner dial. So let's say we're setting it for 2 p.m. right here. Push it in. And then, of course, we can pull it out all the way, change our hour, and about right here. See, it's a little bit tricky to like get to date. It seems like there we go. So in that rotation, it's date. But notice what I did. Now I screwed it up. I changed my date. Now I've got to come all the way around. So let's say we're setting it for 6 p.m. just for speed. Imprecise. Notice you can't go back though. So if you overshoot it, that's not perfect. Anywho, so we'll screw in our crown again. And then this red pusher right here is what sets your alarm. So 1 beep is off, 2 beeps is on. Make sure I told you right. Yeah, 2 beeps is on. So now it's on. 1 beep is alarm off. If I didn't say that right, that's what I meant to say. And this is what it sounds like when you press it. You can kind of see it right here. Sounds like just like a Casio, right? So 1 beep is off. And there you go. There's your alarm function. And that's the features of the Pathfinder. Now what I do, and I've said this for a long time now, and I don't apologize for it, I'm not going to change, is I actually wear an Apple Watch all the time. So maybe you're wearing a Fitbit or something like that, and that's how I do my alarm functions for sure. I don't think of the Apple Watch as a watch at all. I'm just changing the face on it. So this is what I'm wearing. It's a wrist computer for messaging, fitness. You can talk like Dick Tracy on the telephone with it. And it has, this is my Series 2. I've had this for like, heck, over 2 years now. It's still going strong. It's a great watch. But this is what I'll do my timer and alarm functions on. But if you just wear an analog piece and you want that, you have it. My point in saying this is you're going to spend more anytime you get a GMT function and an alarm function in your watch. In your analog watch, they make a really big deal about it. It's like, oh man, this has got this function in it. But if you just pair it with a smartwatch, it's NA. Totally NA. Let's look at the details on the Voretech GMT. First looks, I really like the presentation of this a little bit better. We'll start off with the hands. Oh, there you go, sword hands. There you go, bro. They're stubby. I don't like that. And the effective face here is only 30 millimeters across. I talk more and more about that because we have a 24-hour chapter ring here, which takes up so much bezel space. I kind of wish they didn't do that. Or just make it flat and make your hands bigger and just put, like they did on the Pathfinder, an inner scale for the military time. But they chose not to do it, and they did a big old chapter ring taking up space. I prefer they not do it. So we're left with stubby hands, albeit super legible against the loom face. And then we have some complications that some of y'all will like, or maybe like me, you think it's maybe a little bit too busy. We have 2 different hands. So, and I think I have my crown pulled out to show you. We have our alarm hand, which is also red, and it's non-reversible because if we go the other direction, we're changing our date. Okay, and you're going to play around with that and probably get it wrong and learn the hard way and change your date and like, oh crap, that's a big downside to these analog alarm watches. You really got to know which direction you're going, otherwise you screw your date up, if you care. Oh, that's so funny. I didn't even notice this until now, but my battery's dying. Look at the seconds hand, how it's like jumping in multi-second increments. That's why the alarm is not working. Time to change the battery. I'm thinking that's what's going on. But it sounds just like this one. right? And I've had this for about 2 years, and so it's time to change the battery. Screwing case back is going to be easy enough to do. Quartz movement on this one for sure. But getting back to the face, different complications, right? Say in comment if you like that you like all the hands. You can have an alarm hand, a GMT hand, the hour and minute hand, sub-seconds dial, and I'll apply my comment that I said before. I'm not a super fan of it. There you go. I like the face though. The face is cool. It looks very clean. I like the writing, the momentum, alarm GMT professional, Swiss movement. I forgot to mention that. This has a Ronda movement in it, I believe. I don't know which caliber, nor does it matter. But it's a Swiss movement, they say, which strangely adds a ton of cost to any watch you get. I almost prefer a Chinese or Japanese movement for value. There, I said it. One thing I don't like is it doesn't have minute graduations. Do you notice that? In the Momentum Voretech GMT, which by the way is 2.4 ounces. This one's 2 ounces. Both are super lightweight. Stainless steel, no, I'm sorry, titanium case in this one. I almost said stainless steel. Same for that one. Both are titanium cased, which is cool. I like that. It will show markings though. See and wear, how we got a little mark right here. So if we end up selling this on the secondary market or giving it to one of y'all, it's going to show some wear. I've shot with this one, some tactical shoots. I'll probably find the video and put it in somewhere along the way. Case backs are plain, bead blasted, no adornment whatsoever. Same on the Pathfinder 3. Do I need it? Yeah, I do. At this price point, I'm going to say I need it. Just like, you know, AV8 does. Be kind of cool. So put something back there. You know, if it's going to be a Pathfinder, put a Pathfinder aircraft there they used to use in World War II. That would be cool, man. I don't know what the genre is of this watch. Is it really a field watch, a Flieger watch? It's kind of an in-between to me, which I like. I don't think it has to have a specific genre. Getting back to the face, by the way, the thicker bezel on the Voretech GMT, I'm kind of like, little bit lukewarm, little bit. And then we go to the straps, which are slightly tapered, high quality leather, Cordura lined. Again, these are the factory straps. They're cool. This is the factory strap, and it's just Fliegerish, very simple leather strap, slightly tapered. Would I keep it on? Yeah, I would. I like the whip stitching. I'm a big fan of that. I'm still wearing, by the way, that Fossil. Fossil. Yeah, I love it. It's a pilot watch. It has whip stitching on it. It's cool. I like whip stitched and Flieger style watches. Some of my favorite. I'm less enthusiastic these days about padded watch straps. I'd rather just have something flat, and the Voretech GMT is featuring a padded. Here's your clasp. Non-signed. 2 keepers. Same with this one. So they don't sign it. I don't know if I really super care. Some guys, oh, they signed this one, sorry. Some guys really care about it. They're like, oh my gosh, it's not signed. I can't believe they didn't do that. It's a crown signed. Yep. Now the pushers, I will say this, they look really cool, especially the red anodized aluminum pushers on the Voretech GMT. These are labeled, pushed out for GMT setting. I should have looked at that. I like that. That's a cool complication. The Pathfinder has the same thing. So I would say the upsides are the titanium case. I love that. I don't think you need the sapphire crystal. I like how they're flat and not curved. That's cool. And I like the pushers. Those are cool. This one, I mentioned the things I don't like. I don't like that small effective face. I'd much rather have a thinner bezel, big broad hands. You can leave the hands on there. I'm talking the alarm hand and the GMT hand. I could probably deal with that since the hands are so bold. Let's look at them in the darkness now as the O-light charges them up briefly. This is where you're going to be impressed. I mean, these watches, dude, when you charge them up, they just look so cool. Very legible, and it will last. I mean, the lume on these is really excellent. It'll last for a couple hours in the darkness. Look at that. There's your Voretech GMT. Here's your Pathfinder. Oh my gosh, that is cool. I've shown some friends these watches when I'm wearing them, and they are blown away because they didn't know they made watches like this where you would put the whole face luminous and just use pure black hands for legibility. Notice on the Voretech GMT on the left, you can still see the GMT hand and the alarm hand. And we can still see our seconds hand telling us our battery's running low. Whatever. Very excellent. That might be the thumbnail right there. This Pathfinder on the right, by the way, is relatively old. when I bought it, the guy had had it, I think, for a couple years. So that's not a new watch. Here's that Flatline 42, by the way, not charged up, and it's still glowing. That was like charged up like an hour ago. Speak of the devil. See what I'm saying? Very, very cool. So those are cool points added right there. Different variations of these. You're going to have different straps. I think they have a bracelet option. They have a rubber option if you want those, silicone, whatever they're making out of. Choose your flavor. I'll put links below, and that takes us to would I buy it. I wouldn't buy the Pathfinder. It's too small for me. I would buy the Momentum Voretech GMT. Even though it has some quirks, and all watches are going to have some quirks that you're just going to go, I don't know if I really like it. The overall look is very clean. The overall look of the Voretech GMT is technical. I do like that. It does have some busyness, but what I fail to say is the hands, the GMT hand and the alarm hand are actually pretty thin, and you can't ignore them. The markings are nice. I can deal there's no minute markings. I love the titanium option. It's super light watch. It wears very thin. It's going to fit a wide variety of wrists at 44 by 12 by 53 millimeters. Again, this is smaller, 40 by 11 by 48. Now, if I had really thin wrists and I couldn't rock a bigger watch, I would think about this, but kind of a showstopper for me is I'm not really digging the syringe hands. That's just me though. But this knife though, freaking hey man, that thing is cool. $500 though. You could buy both of these watches for the price of that knife. Heck, you could buy a Glock 19 for the price. Yeah. Yes, this is a watch review with some out of genre fun. Nothing fancy. Momentum watch reviews done for the time being. Thanks so much, guys. See you later.